we're talking about the pursuit.
But in and out. Big sweeping turn.
You've gone to biker heaven.
That's what we're coming here for.
Carry on item.
Well, it's day 3 on my California trip, and I wanted to spend just a moment before my day begins on fit and finish of this Indian Pursuit. I've had a good time on it. It performs really well, but there's a couple things that I did notice that I want to point out, and that is the closing mechanism and the seal on this back bag here. Closing this particular. Okay, I'm glad that it's doing that now. It doesn't do it consistently, but I am struggling with it at times where it locks and doesn't allow me to confirm that it's been pushed down enough. So that's been a little bit of a chore for me. Now, it's best that I tell you that it is a rental motorcycle, so it could have been damaged by somebody or something else could have happened. In a good review, you have to say the bad with the good, and that's something that I did notice. The other thing is that I'm going to point out to you is inside the trunk, there's a little bit of a, maybe this is just a perceived issue rather than a real one. Oh, I've got it locked up now. Okay, bring this around so you can hopefully make this out. This has a little bit of a gap here in between this back wall and the seat, the compartment itself. It's not a performance problem. It's just a matter of detail. And since I'm looking at the details, I want to point that out as well. But the Spirit Lake bag made by Indian here and a half helmet work really nicely in this trunk, which is very handy, very convenient, and I like it. On the lower fairing, there's a really convenient opening and closing to allow a little more airflow to come in. I like that feature. That's very handy. I wish they would add the Indian heel shifter, even though it takes up a little bit of the floorboard room I've found. The heel shifter on a premium bike and a touring bike just seems to make sense to me. Brembo brakes is a nice addition as well. And up front, you'll find the battery tender location, easy and convenient. Here we have the start and then the ignition. Cancel ignition, of course. This is the window adjustment that you're gonna need to raise and lower that guy up front. Over here, I'm gonna switch over to the horn, low beam, high beam, turn signals. And this is what I was struggling to find for the most of the time, is the audio. It was screaming at me for a while. Just up and down, volume, and there's other adjustments for the menus. And on the back, there's also other adjustments for the menus on the back of the handlebar. Fit and finish has been good from what I can tell. Now tomorrow is my final day here in California. I'll be flying back to Tennessee, and I'll be issuing the final statement on whether or not the Indian Pursuit would convince me to move out of my traditional non-fairing Indian Springfield and get into a Pursuit, or maybe even a Challenger. But since we're talking about the Pursuit, let's go here. I'm going to answer that question tomorrow. Beach, famous pier. Turning left onto Pacific Coast Highway. Very cold and breezy out here today. Nevertheless,
I'm prepped for it. I've been riding all the way from LA. Aren't they fun? Sea dogs, I guess. That's what I consider them. They're noisy neighbors. If you get out of here, you got to check these guys out. This one's scratching itself. I love him. He looks as comfortable as he can be. Oh. My kids are really appreciating this one right down here. I love it.
I'm not sure how they got up there.
I like them. Before leaving San Diego for Tennessee, and before leaving my review, I wanted to give you a nice view of the ocean. The sea lions are over there having a good time. I just parked my temporary ride, and very soon I'm going to be delivering that back safe and sound to San Diego and India Motorcycle San Diego. And thanks for a great time, you all. Joe's been great, and anyway, I get to hang out with him a little bit before I leave. So with all of that said, would I trade in my Indian Springfield for this pursuit or any other pursuit? And all said and done, right now, I can say honestly, I would not. Now I say that, but it may end up being my next ride. The Challenger may, in fact, be my next ride because I don't know that I need the top box back there. I could do a Challenger, Indian backrest, seat, and I'm set. But otherwise, the performance of this has been very good. I've played with it in standard mode and in sport mode. I have no complaints for the performance of the bike. But my preference, and it's my preference only, I would choose a Springfield again. I think it's a great buy. It's a great bike and properly outfitted with luggage, and it just gives a lot for the money. That's not to speak poorly of the Pursuit. I do like it, but I like to travel longer distances more than a couple days, so I'm going to need a little bit more to pack, and luggage seems to pack a little bit more. So with that, I'll sign off, and thanks everyone for a great time out here in California. I've had a fabulous time. This isn't sponsored by Indian, but I'll even say thank you to Indian. They make a great motorcycle.